Hey, it's Keith from Save the Rust. So today we're going to continue working on our 1940 Norton 16H World War II bike, and we'll show you what we've been up to in the last week. So we've got the girder front end all apart. So I'm going to show you some interesting pieces on this front end. So here's the main legs. It's actually in really good shape. And what you're going to see on the sides here is some big flat discs. And what that is this other piece, that's the articulating part where the spring goes in. And then what this is an area that uses a friction washer. It goes in between here, it goes on top, and that allows movement, but it doesn't wear any of the material away. So these are, not really sure, probably some form of asbestos or something, but everything's in really nice shape. I've got 2 or 3 more of these, but all destroyed, bent and twisted. One was extended as a chopper. So some of the stuff we're looking at here is we got to look at the bearing races and make sure that they're still okay. So this one, it's not too bad, but you see right here, there's a good view. See those marks? That's from the bearing sitting there. And you can, if you run your finger on it, you can kind of feel these little bumps. So what we'll do is we're going to take a look at our other 2 or other 3 springers, see if any of the races are in better shape, and then we can swap them out. Here's the bottom tree. Same idea. We're going to take a look at the bearing race and make sure it's okay. Stem's good. This is a really nice girder. I found in northern Manitoba. Did some trading with a guy. I mean, it's still original paint, green, beautiful shape, like unbelievable shape. It's 10 times better than any other springer or girder I've found. So, not even any rust on it. This thing's a beautiful shape, beautiful shape. So one of the things that's really interesting is, again, when I was talking about following a specific order and putting it back together, because there's all these little washers and specific nuts that go on these rods, and each rod has a specific spot and direction. One side of the rod will have a larger diameter than the other side on some of them. So here's the steering dampener system. So I believe I'm missing some friction washers on this. But what's interesting is, you see this hole here? So that goes into, this comes apart. Hold on. So what I want to show is, sometimes there's a sequence on how you have to put stuff back together, especially on these bikes. So here's the stem that goes through the neck of the bike. And here is the top piece of the steering dampener. And here's the bottom piece. So this goes underneath. You'll see 2 pins here. It goes in, and then it clamps on there. So it makes it solid. You put 2 bolts on there. This goes to the frame. Okay, so then I'll remove that. I'm going to show you just the bottom piece of this. You see how there's a hole through it? So when that goes in, you make sure you have it in this same fashion, because the rod goes through the bottom of the steering dampener and holds it in position. So unless you get, let's see here, if you don't get it the right way, if you don't get it in there, if you don't put that steering dampener in before you put these on, you'll never get it in. So now it's stuck in there. So even when I was playing around with it, you know, it comes out to a point because it's oblonged, but it's never going to come out. So you have to pull that out, and then it pops out. So just kind of a little tip if you're trying to get one of these apart and trying to pull the steering dampener apart, it isn't coming out until you pull that bottom pivot rod out. So everything on this Springer looks really nice. Probably the only thing that I'll be replacing is the top. And I was lucky enough to get a new old stock one. So lucky enough to find exactly what I needed. Found this in the guy's basement in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Got a new old stock headlight and a bunch of other parts that he got back in like the 70s, and just sat there until I came along, so I was lucky. So that's some of the components on the Springer, and I'm going to show you some of the other parts. So here is the remainder of the parts. Here's your links. Here's your main spring. Here's your auxiliary springs. And so some of the parts that I found on my other Springer front ends, a girder front end, sorry, that really wore out were the links. So on the other ones, this was just completely oblonged. So these ones are in really nice shape. Here's an original pin that was chromed, but like it's tight. It's got very little movement, where some of the others it's just completely wore right out. So that's one of the things you got to look at. And what you're going to notice also is one side is not threaded and the other side is. So you got to make sure that's where the rods, putting them in the right direction, and the links on the proper side. One of the other things you're going to want to look at is making sure your springs are, you know, kind of nice and straight, equal. They're not stretched or bent or anything. Some of the other ones I found were just like they came off and they sat like this. They were just completely bent. And again, the holes, because that's where the pin goes through. And you just want to make sure that that's not all wore out. I don't know anybody if they remake these or not. I just happened to, you know, after buying so many of them, stumbled upon a really good one. Here's the mainspring. I'm going to see if this part comes off. I can't remember if it does or not. I think it does because it just has that, it's set up for like a wrench. So what we'll do is we'll clean this up and then we'll parkerize that. We'll parkerize these. I'm not sure if I can unscrew them off of the spring. I'll try. I think you can, but I've never done it. And then we'll parkerize the springs and everything, and we'll parkerize all the rods, all the hardware. A lot of the hardware is probably going to get zinc or silver CAD plated. There is also a difference here. I'm not sure of the era. I'm not sure of the years, but this is an auxiliary. It's like this is a rubber bushing, and it's to stop the travel of the girder. So this is like a stopper. It hits. Not every one of them came with this. I don't know the years. I just know that there is some differences, and this just clamps on, comes apart, and just goes around the leg, and there you go. So I'll have to get new rubbers made or make them, and yeah, just some interesting pieces that you may never know what they look like if you have never taken one apart. The grease zerks are interesting because they're, you know, not your common grease zerk. that earlier style. So some interesting pieces. We've also got a bunch of stuff for a bunch of different bikes all set up on the that needs work outside of the basement. So I've got defenders sitting there that need some welding a bit. Same with the front top here. We got the outer primary, the rear rack. I've got all kinds of different things written on them, what has to be done, prep the parts, etc. That what needs to be painted, what needs to be powder coated. There's more on the base down here. We've also got the frame out. We took the those two mounts that we were talking about removing, the toolbox, or it was like an extra toolbox mount that someone had brazed on. We took the torch to that the other day and got those mounts off. The only thing we have left to do on the frame now is repair the gas tank mount. Where we're at on the motor and transmission, we got some more pieces cleaned up. We're going to do some parkerizing very soon, and we'll continue putting the motor back together as far as all the hardware. One of the other things I found when I was going through I have two transmissions. So this is the one that I wanted to use, and you can see there's a difference. And when you pull it all apart, I didn't see anything that stood out right away. Springs are the same length. The pins are the same length. But what it is on this one, there's a stopper on the inside. So what I'm gonna have to do is, I really wanted to use this one because it cleaned up well, and the threads look really good. This one obviously has been plated of some sort. I don't like how the plating's on the threads, but I've tried to put this piece into this one and it won't fit. It just doesn't fit. Anyway, so I'm not sure why that one has a stopper, kind of farther down, and this one doesn't. So I'm not sure if that's a different year that they did this with or not. So we're gonna have to clean this one up, and hopefully it comes out as nice as this one. And then next up is the wheels. We have this new old stock one back here, beautiful condition, perfect condition. We're probably gonna have to pull it apart so we can, powder coat it, and then I'm guessing parkerize the spokes so it looks, fresh and clean. And then we're looking at these other rims, trying to decide which one are we using. So, my first one would be the military green one, of course, because it's painted. This one, the other two are chromed, and I just don't like trying to, powder coat over chrome. There's always flaking, and I'm just not a big fan of it. So, but this one here, see the hole? It's about a 1/2 inch hole when it should be a lot smaller. See how that's a factory one. So someone drilled that one out. Another thing is there's a couple dents here. It's not perfect. I'm not sure what we can do there. But I'm going to take all these wheels and I'm going to throw them on on my truing stand, and I'm going to spin them and just see which one looks best, and then kind of determine what we're going to do. I'm going to do some measuring too, see if there's any differences on the width of the rims, and then go ahead with that. And also, we got to look at the most important part, the hubs. Are the hubs okay? Is there any other issues? That one spot on the rim, I could weld that up, no problem, and fix it. I'm not too worried about that. You just want to pick the right one for this project. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at on that. And if you've been wondering about our other projects, where we're at on them, okay. 1942 Harley made 2 orders this week for parts, and we sent off our seat pan to Heather's Leathers, and we also got some saddlebags coming. Oh, this is gonna look good. Adventure bike, we gotta take, we gotta do some work on this neck. It doesn't allow me to put my jig that I put through in, so I'm not really sure. I want to do some drilling on it, so we're kind of not working on that right now. If you've been watching along, we've been doing the Flanders, got the fork apart, so now we can start taking the measurements, which I already believe I have, get those frame tubes made so we can start fixing that frame. The 63 Triumph is all blown out, motor sent off. Everything else is ready for powder coat and a bit of paint. Still got to fix the gas tank. So it's a bit of everything all over the place, but right now we can still concentrate on the Norton, which is what we're doing. So this one's pretty good. It actually looks pretty straight here. Actually better than my 1942 Harley rim. And I mean, I could put it on the dial indicator, but I don't know if that's worth even bothering. But so what we're gonna do, got the torch, gonna heat up every one of these nipples. And see if we can't get them apart. It keeps falling off this. Well, I think we got her, so just gotta, you know, kind of go back and forth and break that seal, that 80-year-old seal of rust, and we'll see if we can. I'm not a fan of reusing spokes, but again, I haven't really looked into it to see who makes spokes for these and what the finish is. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. I won't bore you with watching me do this 40 times or 36 times, whatever it is. And yeah, so I thought I'd give you guys a little update on where we're at on the Norton, and really looking forward to like putting something back together here soon. So yeah, hopefully the next video we'll be working on the 1942 Harley, because we'll be getting some parts back, and yeah, excited about that. So thanks again. thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for buying t-shirts and our merch. And, you know, I'm Keith, Save the Russ. This is what we do. This is who we are. Have a great day.